Hello lovelies, time for part 2 of my unusual vanilla perfume videos. Now, this one I'm sure lots of people have seen before. I'm sure loads of you have it because it's a really quite beloved and affordable perfume from Lolita Lempicka. This is LolitaLand. It says it there, but as you can see, my juice is so deep. I think this, when it first arrives, is a beautiful kind of peachy colour, and there is peach in this, so that is totally understandable. But there's so much vanilla in this that it really changes over time. This is, to me, the smell of a spiced cake, a very sugary, but actually also a good deal tart apricot jam, and then a big dose of vanilla custard on the side. That's kind of what this smells like to me. It has a citrusy zinginess, especially when you first spray it, because there is a Bellini note in this, so it's got an effervescent champagne-y kind of smell. But the more it dries down, the more it just smells deep, spicy, kind of fruity. Something about it does come across a bit apricot-y to me. And then it's got a really lovely creamy vanilla in the base. It has a very similar vanilla in the base to the other Lolita Lempicka from my first video, Green Lover. But this one is more feminine, it's more kind of spicy, it's not green at all, more citrusy. But it's probably about the same level of vanilla. So this is kind of half vanilla, half spicy, fruity, kind of slightly cakey vibes. The full set of notes, though, are Bellini, mandarin orange, lemon, grapefruit, lime, and black pepper in the top. The middle notes are white peach, plum, blackcurrant, jasmine, sambac, jasmine, magnolia, and rose in the mid. The base is Madagascar vanilla, benzoin, licorice, white musk, and sandalwood. Now, benzoin to me, as I said in my last video, it always reminds me a little bit of a very deep and dark gingerbread. So I think that's where I'm getting that warm, spicy gingerbread kind of smell, or like a spiced cake. And again, licorice is obviously quite dark and spicy. You've got black pepper, which is always warm and spicy. But then you have that champagne in the Bellini. You've got all those kind of citrusy vibes. You've got the white peach. I think the plum is probably like balancing out all those fruits along with the blackcurrant to not make it kind of too acidic and citrusy. And I'm really fussy about peach, and this isn't too peachy for me either. But you've got a really beautiful dose of vanilla in the base. And I just think it's lovely. I do think some people would find this... It's like one step away from being too separate in the kind of fizzy citrusy notes and the sweet vanillic notes for me, because... But I don't like Poison Girl, for instance, and I don't like Wanted Girl by Azzaro. Those I feel are kind of sharp, fruity, and then a totally separate sweet note. And I think this is like one step away from that, but this is the version that I can wear. I think if you like those perfumes, you might love this. I mean, yeah, it's got a fabulous pumpkin-shaped bottle, really cool. And then this highly over-the-top lid in that classic Lolita Lempicka way. But yeah, so LolitaLand from Lolita Lempicka is so beautiful. And then this stamp at the back is such a cool perfume. Really cool bottle. So then on the next, this is quite a different vibe. Another unusual vanilla. So this is an incredibly floral vanilla, but when I first got this, I was very surprised by how much vanilla there was in it and how sweet it was. This is Something Blue by Oscar de la Renta. Now, you may be able to tell from the name, Something Blue, that this is supposed to be a wedding perfume. For those from different countries where we don't have the same saying, it's something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue is the tradition. So you have to wear something that's been borrowed, something that's new, something that's old, and something that's blue. So it comes with this little Oscar de la Renta ring that goes on there. I think this is a linden blossom perfume in the main. So linden blossom are obviously those tiny little flowers that you also know as lime blossom. That's quite a weddingy smell, you know. The notes all together here, so it makes a bit more sense what I'm going on about, are Linden Blossom, Neroli, Bergamot, Mandarin Orange in the top. The middle is Lily of the Valley, Stephanosis, Narcissus and Lychee. Base notes are White Musk, Ambrette, Cashmere Wood, Ambergris and Bourbon Vanilla. And the more this dries down, the more vanillic it gets. And I was really surprised. But I think it makes what could otherwise be a little bit of a overpowering white floral into something that is sweeter, easier and more feminine, you know. Totally perfect to wear to a wedding. Because it's very green when you first spray it, and it is that Linden Blossom. It's super, super green, quite citrusy, and I find Neroli to be incredibly green and soapy, you know. But it quite quickly starts to dry down, and then eventually you will get this beautiful vanilla coming through in the base. And it lasts for ages, and you can get this for very cheap. This bottle cost me about £15, but it was without its box. But I think you're looking at about £25 for this, to be honest, just full price. It's fresh, it's spring-like, but then it has that vanilla, which makes it, to my nose, quite unusual, because most white florals and kind of wedding florals I've smelt tend to be a little bit screechy to me. Sometimes they smell a bit old-fashioned. This one smells like a classic perfume, but then it has this kind of strange creamy vanilla in the base. And it's one of those perfumes that I always think to myself, do I actually need this? I don't wear it very often. You can see I've barely even made a dent in this. I've worn it quite a few times, but it's very strong. And then I'll wear it and I'll be like, I can't get rid of that. It's amazing. It's like so interesting. So yeah, Something Blue from Oscar de la Renta is an absolute steal, and it's perfect spring wedding kind of smell. Next up, oh, this might be the sweetest one in this bunch. You can't really get this in the UK, but I got this from Fragrance X. And you can get things delivered over to the UK for free if you spend over a certain amount of money. So if you just bought this and like one other thing, then it would be in your collection and it wouldn't cost you too much to get it here. And it's actually pretty quick. This is Fresh Cream by Philosophy. So I have, if you're in the UK and you don't want to get anything shipped over and you don't want to spend the £40 that this bottle costs, have a look and try and find the Fresh Cream body spritz, because that's the first one that I got. I think it's really, really good. This isn't massively strong anyway, so you could just re-spritz that and make sure it hits your clothes and it will last longer. You can get that for super cheap in the UK at the moment, so that's a really good deal. But Fresh Cream from Philosophy is an incredibly sweet, creamy, lactonic vanilla. It's very sugary, so the actual notes are whipped cream, milk, powdery notes, sweet notes and floral notes. I don't really get much floral. Sweet notes, I just feel like it smells like sugar. I do get, honestly, a little bit of a breast milk smell about this, and anyone who knows breast milk will know that it's intensely sugary, extremely fatty, very unctuous, you know. And I think that's the kind of vanilla that this is. But it is essentially a vanilla perfume, really. It doesn't even list vanilla, but it definitely smells like a creamy vanilla. And you could definitely use this as a vanilla. This is one I only wear at home because to me it's a very homey scent. It's not something I'd want to wear outdoors. And also because some people think that this smells a bit sour. They don't like the fact that it's a bit of a breast milky kind of smell. But I love it. I've become obsessed with it. And I also have, so people in the UK, you'd have to keep an eye out on eBay and Vinted because that's where I found my bottles. But I also have Fresh Cream Warm Cashmere and Fresh Cream Soft Suede. Warm Cashmere, I quite like that one. It's got a little bit of a biscuity smell to it, a little bit like a kind of actual cookie. And it's very vanillic. It doesn't have a huge amount of the DNA of the original Fresh Cream. But it's kind of like a woody vanilla, you know. Whereas the soft suede version retains that kind of fresh cream and vanilla smell. It's more vanillic than this even. And then it has this beautiful soft smoky suede. So I really, really like that one. I like it better than Warm Cashmere. So if you can find it, both of those are also quite interesting vanillas. Really good for cold weather, very cozy. But this one is probably easiest to get nowadays. And like I said, they have a body spritz of it as well. Oh, It's incredibly sweet. It's definitely the sweetest of this bunch, but I do think it's kind of magical. Doesn't last the longest, but it's kind of magical. So in my last video, I talked about Cashmere, and I said I would talk about what I think of it as its kind of sister scent. Yeah. Oh, yes. Magical. This is Far Away from Avon. Now, I had the current bottle of Far Away, and I found that it just smelled a little bit too chemically. I got that kind of tar note that you get with the fixants. That I mean, to be honest, that smell, that tar fixant smell, has been in every single Avon perfume I've smelled that's been released in like the last 5 years. So they obviously just have that in the base of all of their perfumes. I can't bear it. So I went and found this older version in the frosted glass with the two-toned lid. So these are the older bottles, and this one I don't find it has that same tar note sitting around on my skin. So this is very similar to Cashmere, but it's even more vanillic. So this has a very custardy vanilla in the base. This one I think you would just definitely describe as a vanilla perfume, but it's like a unusual tropical floral perfume. And this is definitely a ylang perfume. So the notes here are coconut, ylang ylang, peach, caro corunde, which is described as a tropical floral. I feel like this is quite a waxy smelling perfume as well. And then there's orange in the top as well. Then the middle notes are jasmine, gardenia, violet, freesia, osmanthus and rose. I don't really get a huge amount of any of those, if I'm honest. Maybe osmanthus, but not really any of the others particularly. Base notes vanilla, sandalwood, amber and musk. I definitely get some sandalwood. I get a slight hint of that coconut. I get a slight hint of the peach and the orange. And I get a waxy, tropical smelling yellow floral. So this is very ylang heavy, and it smells like a Barbie doll to me. It's got like a Barbie doll, like a doll head smell to it. Which I think is just fabulous. I really love this. My husband really liked this when I first got it as well. He was really into it. And it's just got quite a strong vanilla in the base, and the longer you wear it, the more vanillic it gets. You can get a bottle of this for £10. If you aren't mad for ylang ylang, you will hate it. If you don't like doll heady, slightly plasticky smelling perfumes, and to be honest, I think that often comes from ylang ylang. I think ylang ylang has a slight plasticky doll head facet to it, and also a slightly banana-y facet. So I think this one really brings out both of those things, and it's so yummy, it's so girly, and it's such a bargain. So I love Far Away, and I'm really glad. It's really easy to get these older bottles as well, so if you want one of these, just get one on eBay. If you don't ever have that problem with that kind of fixant smell that smells like burning rubber or burning wood, then just get the normal one, because it's only going to be about a tenner. You can get them on Amazon, you can get them directly from I nearly said ASOS. What am I even talking about? Avon. It's not ASOS and it's not Argos, it's Avon. It's the only Avon that survives in my collection, because it's the only perfume of theirs that I actually like. And I've tried many and I don't get on with any of them. I don't like any of the flankers because of that tar note. But this, oh, I love it. Even cheaper than Cashmere. So let's have a little look. The next one. Okay, so the next one is one that it's still in its box. I'm gonna have to adjust this because it's absolutely gigantic. This bottle is Beyonce Pulse. So this is a perfume that I really like the box. I think it's super cool. I like the smell of this, but I find it too linear, and then I don't like wearing it for a long time. So because it starts to be a bit sickly to me, but I do also like it. I'd really like this on someone else. It's just not something I'm very comfortable in wearing. So you get this mad bottle. I mean, I think, to be honest, you could also, if you wanted, just have it that way. It's not quite as sturdy, but it is a flat top. But yeah, so this is Beyonce Pulse. It's very, I mean, you know, it's good to try to have a different style, you know, which is cool. Yeah, this is a really interesting vanilla. It's definitely a vanilla perfume. 100. So Pulse, the original one, has a blue curacao note. So as in the blue alcohol that me and my friends and my sister used to always want to have in our cocktails when we were young, because it made everything blue. So obviously this has a blue juice, as you can see, and this kind of silvery coloured. I'm not sure what the best angle is for this because it's kind of picking up the light in all the worst ways. So we're just going to put it like that. See, when I first spray this, I just fully love it. I absolutely love it. But when I wear it, it just starts to become a bit sickly, and I can't cope with wearing such a linear smell that's this particular smell for a long time. But this is citrusy. It has a really interesting and noticeable curacao, which is quite a specific smell. I almost don't know how to explain it. It's almost coconutty in a way. So the notes here are curacao, bergamot, pear blossom. Middle notes are orchid, jasmine and peony. I do think that she likes orchid. There's orchid in quite a lot of her perfumes. Base notes, vanilla, musk and woodsy notes. And it's definitely got a really obvious vanilla. Really obvious. So, yeah, it says there's bitter orange in curacao. But yeah, there's almost something coconutty here, almost like coconutty vanilla. It's kind of got a slight booziness, but you know, curaçao's not like the strongest of boozers, so it's not like really thick or alcoholic. It's not super boozy. Yeah, it's really pretty. This is probably one that, although I don't need this massive bottle, I will have to keep a decant of because I really like this smell. I don't need this huge bottle, but it's super pretty. It would be a really good like evening out perfume in warmer weather because it's a vanilla, but there's enough other stuff going on that it's not going to kind of be overwhelming. But it's very sweet. It's very sugary, very sweet. And I'm going to continue with a kind of citrusy vanilla, one that's really good for warmer weather, because I have one from Lush. This is not an affordable one compared to the others, I won't lie. I've got one from Lush that is called Hairdressers Husband. And this is super, super citrusy, really pretty. But there's a noticeable vanilla in this one. And you get it more as it dries down. I would say it's a subtle vanilla, this is. But it's one of those rare things where you get a citrus perfume that has a nice bit of vanilla in it, and you keep both the citrus and the vanilla throughout the whole wear. Now, this does not last a very long time, and so I would definitely advise you to only buy this if you can get it on eBay, because it's super expensive from Lush, and it is not, in my humble opinion, at all worth the money that it's charged. They have explained to me that the reason that some perfumes in their perfume library collection are so expensive is because they make such small batches of them. So just in, you know, obviously the smaller the batch you make, the more expensive each ingredient is. But this is super pretty. It's got a really interesting note in there because it's got myrtle in it, which is like a kind of, as far as I remember, like a citrusy floral. So this has top notes of lemon, orange and grapefruit, middle notes of myrtle and lime, base notes of vanilla, absolute and tonka bean. And the vanilla from Lush is just so delicious. It's super pretty, but this is like, that myrtle gives it a really interesting tone along with all of those lovely citruses. And having a quick look to see if there's anything else in here that might, yeah, so sweet orange and lemon, yeah. It's got a bit of cinnamon, and I feel like I can smell something kind of cinnamony in here. But it's got just enough of that vanilla and tonka to turn this into like a really citrusy vanilla, or I should say a slightly vanillic citrus. So I think this one's interesting. I just wanted to shout it out because I don't think people talk about it very often, but it's really nice. If you like Lush perfumes and you like citrus perfumes, you're probably going to really like this one. Another one I'm not keeping, but only because I have Green Lover, but I did want to mention it anyway because I think it is really good and it's really affordable. I'm going to have to get big again for this one. This is CK Into You. A few years ago everyone was going on about this on YouTube, and then people went quiet about it. Most people decluttered it, but I saw Claire Smith talking about this one recently, and I think she's just recently kind of fallen in love with this one. So CK Into You, it comes in a horrible bottle with lots of plastic on it. CK Into you. I normally love Calvin Klein's bottles, but this one not so much. So you can see the cool colour of this juice. The juice, that's what it smells like. That is an accurate colour for how this smells. This has a resinous, piney smell to it. That is really pretty. But again, if I'm going to go for something that has something a little bit resinous or piney, I have a couple of other perfumes that I'm going to prefer, and I have a couple of other kind of vanilla citruses that I prefer. So, but this one, it almost smells Christmassy because it has red cedar in it, and that has that kind of almost Christmas tree scent to it to me. So the notes here: pink grapefruit, Sicilian bergamot, and red currant leaf in the top. And you get a lot of that grapefruit, super citrusy. Middle notes, orchid and cactus. Don't really know what cactus smells like, but I'm sure it's quite an interesting smell. Base notes, vanilla, red cedar and amber. And to be honest, what I get from this perfume is pink grapefruit, vanilla, cedar, amber. And the more it dries down, the more you get that vanilla, and that vanilla stays the whole time, but the red cedar smells the whole time as well. This one to me smells super, super unisex. It's fresh, it's clean, it's pretty. Like I said, it's like a kind of citrusy Christmas perfume. It's just got that, the red cedar is so kind of piney. It's super pretty. It's a really nice one, but because I have Hairdressers Husbands, and I have the little sample of the thing I'm going to talk to you about in a minute, and I have Green Lover, it's just kind of redundant in my collection. It's just not one that I reach for, but I think this is a really nice perfume. It's not one I'm getting rid of because I don't like it. I just, I wish I could take off that bit of the bottle and it would look so much cooler. I might have a problem selling it if I tore off the bottle, eh? So next on the list, we have one that's new to my collection. I have been looking at this perfume. It has been in my wish list forever, for so long. And there were a couple of things that were putting me off buying it. But oh my God, I'm so happy I bought this. I'm instantly obsessed with this, and it is one of the most interesting vanilla perfumes I've ever come across. But it is also not a hard wear for me. I don't think so anyway, but again, it depends what kind of things you like. This is Lalique Le Parfum, and you'll be able to see from the colour of this liquid compared to probably other people who have talking about this, who have talked about this, that mine's new, because this is one that, like Lolita Lempicka, seems to get very, very dark. It has this, I'm just going to see if I can zoom in to show you how beautiful. It almost looks like a Medusa head, but I think it's a face. It almost looks like tiny little seahorses in the corner. Just so beautiful. So beautiful, this bottle. It's already in my display. It's already in my little display. So also, just let's show it some respect, and let's show it to you properly. Lalique Le Parfum is, I think, a bit of a love or hate, because it has a really unusual green and herbaceous note in it. But for me, that's not what put me off. So what put me off for a long time was the patchouli, because some people said it had a lot of patchouli in it. It's got jasmine, which is often my nemesis. And then it has almond and heliotrope. And sometimes that freaks me out, because almond and heliotrope sometimes creates a sort of powdery, sickly scent in perfumes that I really don't like. And I've had to get rid of quite a lot of heliotrope perfumes. But this one, this is not a powdery, sickly perfume. It is actually, it lasts a long time, and it does have a decent scent bubble, but it's not overwhelming. Not to me. But it's so interesting. So the notes, top notes, West Indian Bay, which is so unusual, honestly. Like literally a bay leaf like you put in a stew. Pink pepper, bergamot, middle notes of heliotrope, almond and jasmine. Base notes, vanilla, tonka bean, sandalwood and patchouli. This is instantly addictive. It's a sugary vanilla to me, a very sweet vanilla, and I think that's the tonka mixing with the vanilla. When I first spray it, I definitely get a bit of bergamot. I get that kind of spicy pink pepper quite strongly at first, and I can smell that bay leaf. And that, unusual green, aromatic kind of deep smell. I mean, it's so hard to describe it because, like, what does a bay leaf even bring to food? We put it in things, but can you really describe what it does? It just gives it this beautiful flavour. It just deepens everything up and makes it just taste even better. And I think that's what's going on here. Now, if you don't like that greenness, if you don't like a kind of herbaceousness, then you won't enjoy this perfume. But again, if you like things like Eau Duelle, if you like things like Green Lover, if you like those vanillas that have those interesting, you know, like Gypsy Water, there's something else going on in there. It's not just a straight vanilla. It's not just a vanilla with flowers. It's not just a vanilla with fruits. It's a special, interesting blend. The heliotrope and almond in here in no way goes powdery and sickly. I don't know how they've blended this the way they have. It's amazing. The patchouli in here doesn't bother me. I think it's probably mixing up with that bay leaf and just smelling a bit green to me. It's actually heavenly, and I'm so excited. I literally in the same day, so in the same batch of deliveries, I got Lalique Le Parfum and Rochard Tocard. And I was so excited about both of them. I've got this gorgeous... I've put it on my skin because I will say this one, unlike most of these, on card, this doesn't smell anywhere near as good as it does on my skin. There is a magic in this, and when I first tried it, I kept getting whiffs of it, and I just was getting more and more obsessed. I am very excited to have this. I'm really happy to have it. And I got it via Direct Cosmetics, but on their eBay selling site. And including delivery, it was £28 for 100ml of this stunning bottle, stunning eau de parfum. I'm genuinely ecstatic about this. I can't wait to wear it. I haven't... I mean, I'm technically wearing it today just on one arm, but I just can't wait to give this a full wear test. I'm actually considering this being my Christmas Day perfume. So I'm not sure when I'm going to be putting this out. I mean, this will come out after Christmas, I should imagine. But I just realised how wonky this is. Never mind. I can't. I'm psyched. And I really... This might be one of my highest recommendations of any of these vanillas. I do think that this is extremely wearable. Obviously, like I said, if you're freaked out by more aromatic notes or more herbaceous notes or green notes with vanilla, then you might not go for this at all. But this is special, and I absolutely understand why I've seen so many YouTubers who talk about affordable and even expensive perfumes talking about this. And it was in my list for so long, I could never smell it from anywhere else. But oh my goodness, this is one of my best 2023 buys. It's stunning. So anyway, I'll stop going on, but this is something very, very special here. So I've got to finish up with two little guys that I have. And one of them's easier to explain than the other, so I'll start with that. So this is Bare. So I spoke about Ånd Fragrances last time because I had their Mad perfume, which is their vanilla scent. This is, I'm thinking of this as a Christmas tree scent. This is Bare from Ånd Perfumery by Simon Constantine. There's something magic about this. So Bare is extremely unisex, possibly leaning a bit masculine, but it has top notes of pine, middle notes of fir and red cedar, and base notes of vanilla. So I wasn't joking when I said I had a few things that mean that CK and TU are redundant. This is a incredibly expensive smelling non-citrusy version of CK and TU. It's incredibly natural. It has a really obvious kind of Christmas tree smell in this, which is why I wore this the other day, because it's just coming up to Christmas and I wanted to smell a bit like a Christmas tree. But it has a ton of vanilla in the base of this. And I think if you look at the votes, vanilla is up the top, because I do think this is a woody, piney, like really Christmas tree smelling vanilla. And it's a vanilla that smells very, very similar to the vanilla in Mad. So it's almost like this is like a masculine take on the Mad perfume, which is a little bit fruitier, a bit more floral, a bit more girly. This one, there's a very noticeable vanilla running through this. But if you want to smell like vanilla and a Christmas tree for Christmas, then this is a really good one. And again, you can get the 10 mils for about £35 of the Eau de Parfum. This is not the strongest perfume I've ever used, but my God, it was absolutely relentless. It lasted until I washed it off. I could smell it forever. So yeah, it's very, very piney, and it's very vanillic, and it's super cute. So that's Bear. It's a really good one. There's something kind of magical about this one. And then speaking of Claire Smith, this is a very hard perfume to explain, but it's one I actually really like. So Claire very kindly sent me, when we did a little sample exchange, a little sample of Mugler Aura. This is the EDP. So now this obviously has an incredibly beautiful bottle, if you actually buy it. This is so unusual. I will say, people often describe this as a vanilla perfume, and I do definitely think there's quite a lot of vanilla going on, but it's not, I think it's equal with a lot of the other notes here. I don't think this is a dominantly vanilla perfume on me, but it's very sweet. I get a ton of pear in this, and I think that explains some of what I'm smelling here, because it's really unusual, this smell. I thought it would be far more challenging than it actually is to me, because I think a lot of people think this is very weird. But to be honest, I don't necessarily love Alien because of the jasmine, and I don't really love Angel because of the patchouli, and again Angel Muse I don't love because of the patchouli. So I don't really have any perfumes from Mugler, but I don't think any of them are quite as weird as people say they are. Maybe I just like weird perfumes, I don't know. But this one, the top notes are rhubarb, leaf and bergamot. The middle notes are green notes, orange blossom, ylang ylang and pear. The base notes are bourbon, vanilla, woody notes, amber, sandalwood and coumarin. The rhubarb leaf is super interesting. I wouldn't really know much about that, but it's not sharp, this. It's tangy, but it's not sharp to me at all. It's very sweet. So it's very sweet and green, which is unusual. But I get a ton of pear in this, a ton. A little bit of orange blossom, well, quite a lot of orange blossom, which is ever so slightly soapy, but it's so fruity, and there's so much greenness, and it's woody. But it's a very bourbon vanilla going on mixed in with all of this, and then the coumarin is making that even more intensely sweet. So some people are going to find this super sickly. I personally enjoyed wearing this one. I thought it was like a nice wear. I did think about maybe getting a bottle, and then I just kind of looked at how much there was going to be, and I maybe one day this is one that will join my collection, because I do actually think this is beautiful, and I liked it even more on skin than I do on paper. I think it's juicy, and it's kind of cool. It's like a cool green vanillic fruity perfume. It doesn't have like a warmth to it. For me, this is like a cold vanilla, which is actually, to be honest, like this is a colder vanilla than Green Lover, which is like the gin and tonic over ice with a very custardy vanilla in the base. This one, I think, is sweeter than that, and it's colder, but I get so much of that pear. I get a very, very, very sweet, juicy pear. Yeah, I think this is a really interesting perfume. I think it's really pretty, and I think if you like unusual vanillas, this Aura by Mugler is like a super, super interesting perfume. So that's me done. That's my second video for my unusual vanillas. I haven't got any plans to get more vanillas at the moment, so that's probably going to be it for now. I hope you enjoyed these. If you like my videos, please do consider subscribing. It makes a huge difference to YouTubers. If they have more subscribers, then there'll be more in the algorithm, more people will find us, because as you probably know from watching YouTube, the big YouTubers are the ones who get advertised all the time. So yeah, come back, watch some of my other videos. Let me know if you have any of these. And I hope you have a lovely week or a lovely weekend, whichever one it is when you're watching this. Bye guys!